African savanna, power can vanish in seconds. One failed attack, and the hunter suddenly becomes the hunted. No status matters. Only instinct decides who escapes. Now, Africa's predators face the moment everything reverses. In the wild world, prey has always been the predestined feast of the hunter. Yet some animals possess the power to fight back and survive the hunt. Across the sun-scorched plains of the Masai Mara during the dry season, a pride of lions faces a harsh reality, losing approximately 3/4 of their hunts when rain is 6 weeks away. Enter the Pretender, a 130-kilogram lioness and the second youngest of 6, who embarks on her first solo hunt, driven by ambition. Her target is an old female zebra with stiff knee joints and a strike force of 3,000 newtons. According to a study from 2018, 62% of zebra rear kicks point directly at the predator head, representing a deliberate act of revenge rather than random defense. The Pretender sees only a slow walking meal, following the hunting logic taught by her mother, aiming to attack fast and finish in 10 seconds. However, the old zebra does not run away, and the failure is undeniable. From that moment on, she is no longer a hunter, forcing the pride to share scarce food during the next 6 weeks with a member who can no longer contribute. This is not a rare event in the Masai Mara, where 1 out of every 6 male lions does not make it past 8 years old, due to similar injuries inflicted by prey. Furthermore, zebras actively display aggression toward other species, using hooves and teeth at watering holes to push warthogs and wildebeests out of the drinking area as a form of territorial affirmation. This is only the first chapter, because in another wild region, a similar prey awaits, with the same defensive mechanism and a different adversary. An elephant herd converges upon a watering hole, where boisterous juveniles roll joyfully in the thick mud and spray gleaming arcs of water, while mature females submerge themselves within the turbid depths. In the distance, 2 formidable bulls lock tusks in a heavy test of dominance, their ivory clashing until the smaller contender finally yields. This vibrant scene unfolds amidst the abundance of the rainy season, where water appears limitless, yet petty territorial clashes erupt over simple drinking spots. Lush green grass and flowing currents are never permanent gifts. They function merely as short-term loans that the unforgiving dry season will inevitably collect in full. 6 months from now, a lone lioness will stand by a vanishing puddle, trapped between the desperate starvation of her cubs and the silent, deadly jaws resting beneath the mud. The fatal choice she will face then is already being forged today, during an era of prosperity that no wild creature recognizes as a subtle trap. Nearby, a matriarchal herd evaluates the landscape with a discerning vigilance unmatched by any other species. Guiding the procession is the oldest female, holding a leadership role secured exclusively through decades of accumulated memory. Encoded within her cognitive map are the geographic archives of decades past, charting precisely which water sources vanish first, which resilient basins endure through the harshest months, and which migration corridors remain viable. When the nearest watering hole degrades into a mere streak of damp mud, the matriarch pauses in profound stillness before pivoting toward a distant river basin and setting into motion. The entire herd falls into a disciplined single-file line, sheltering the vulnerable calves firmly in the center without a single voice questioning the direction. These supreme masters of the terrain have quietly proclaimed that the earth has exhausted everything it has to offer. The once joyful watering pool on the savanna now fades into cracked mud, stamped only with the imprints of ancient pathways. While on the distant horizon, the retreating herd shrinks into a silver silhouette before vanishing completely, leaving behind those who possess no paths left to follow. Tonight, 5 battles unfold, yielding 5 losers and 5 monarchs who have all mastered the exact same sobering lesson. Across the untamed expanse of nature, the exalted title of apex predator is never a permanent inheritance. Dawn in the Masai Mara delineates the delicate, razor-thin boundary between life and death. Every single breath is relentlessly stalked by unseen hazards, and a solitary misstep is enough to extinguish an existence across this immense plain. Amidst a rolling ocean of golden grass, a lone lioness begins to author the opening chapter of a formidable empire. This solitary traveler traverses boundless fields where the wind carries the damp fragrance of the earth and the rhythmic hum of insects composes a living symphony. Devoid of established territory or supportive pride, this lioness must rely entirely on the primal survival instincts passed down through generations of ancestors. Fate fails to shatter the traveler's indomitable will, and incrementally she carves out her own sanctuary in the wilderness. Gifted with piercing vision and an innate charisma, the prospective leader begins to draw young lionesses into her orbit. The membership expands steadily from 3 to 5, ultimately reaching 7 individual and anchoring the structural foundations of a new dominion in the open grassland. Propelled by an unyielding steel determination, a superior individual naturally commands a collective that assembled through precise biological design rather than mere coincidence. This coordinated brigade operates as a flawless survival machine, where absolute power over life and death rests securely in the hands of the female matriarch. Beneath the descending sun, undulating waves of golden grass mask the silent, fatal steps of the advancing feline syndicate. Every movement achieves absolute mechanical precision, as the primary hunters deploy their strategic formation. Not far away, a cluster of zebras grazes in tranquil ignorance, entirely oblivious to the creeping shadows converging upon them. Stealthily navigating through low-lying brush, 3 lionesses lock their gaze onto the target with cold, amber eyes. The spatial gap shrinks to less than 30 meters, while the zebra assembly remains paralyzed in the face of imminent peril. Upon the execution signal, the leader erupts with terrifying locomotive speed, launching a direct assault against the unfortunate prey. A powerful, thunderous roar rips through the atmosphere, plunging the zebra herd into a chaotic whirlwind of panic. One individual collapses, sealing the brutal inaugural victory of the newly established coalition. Yet this triumph represents merely a preliminary milestone, given that the historical hunting success rate for this species hovers narrowly between 25 and 30%. Every single failure, accounting for 3/4 of all predatory attempts, serves as an invaluable evolutionary lesson, empowering the leader to permanently conquer this territory and cement her sovereign empire. The resonant roar of this apex species can reverberate up to 8 kilometers across the landscape, functioning as an unapologetic declaration of war, broadcasted to all potential rivals. The arrival of the wet season grants the cheetah the precise trio of environmental conditions required by its specialized hunting technique. Firm ground for explosive sprinting, expansive horizontal visibility, and a fresh generation of calves yet unacquainted with fear. This solitary female hunts entirely alone, operating without a protective pack or lookout sentinels, leaving every tactical error to be borne solely by her own shoulders. When she initiates a chase, the reality unfolds entirely divorced from the popular depiction of the world's fastest runner. She secures victory by adhering closely to every evasive swerve, funneling her quarry into an increasingly narrow trajectory until the calf hind legs ultimately lose their traction. Once the kill is secured, the most perilous phase begins, requiring her to consume her meal at an extraordinary velocity. Her lightweight frame grants her unmatched acceleration, yet simultaneously guarantees she will lose any physical dispute over a carcass, compelling her to eat hurriedly while swallowing in frantic haste and lifting her head every few seconds to sweep the horizon. At this stage, anxiety remains manageable because the open plains are sufficiently wide to spot approaching scavengers from afar, highlighting the crucial detail that her success stems less from raw speed than from the open terrain that the impending dry season will ruthlessly strip away. The cheetah originally trailed the migrating herds in a rational, logical decision, yet she surrenders ground with each passing day, as the open plains she once mastered bake into an unyielding crust, and the few surviving green patches sprout grass too tall, entirely obstructing her line of sight. Unrivaled speed becomes utterly useless when there is no level ground available upon which to execute a sprint. Whenever she manages to secure a kill, she feeds under a shroud of high anxiety, frequently forced to abandon an intact carcass at the mere silhouette of a rival predator. Having carried a strategic framework engineered perfectly for the rains straight into the merciless heart of the drought, she absorbs the most punishing lesson the landscape can impart. Physical departure alone is never a solution if one drags along a lifestyle suited exclusively to the abandoned past. While the lioness remains anchored by her dependent cubs precisely when flexibility is most vital, the cheetah chooses a different path, rather than returning to her former hunting grounds, locating a new, more compact plain situated along the perimeter of the floodplains. Though far from ideal, the terrain is sufficiently flat to permit a sprint, and the sporadic rains have restored the one element she desperately missed, a clear horizon. She manages to survive, but the steep cost of her migration requires her to rebuild her entire existence from scratch in an unfamiliar land where she does not recognize a single trail. A spotted golden shadow lies draped across an elevated branch, its long tail hanging loose and heavy, eyes half closed against the glare. Beneath its powerful paws rests the remains of half an impala, hoisted high into the canopy the previous night. Throughout the entirety of the grueling drought, while every other creature is forced to alter something fundamental to its survival, there exists exactly one apex predator that changes almost nothing at all. The leopard does not abandon its ancestral territory, join a transient pack, or chase after the distant migrating herds, and it has never once waited for another hunter to provide its meal. When comparing individuals inhabiting the same arid region, those possessing a broad, versatile diet adapt remarkably well, whereas specialized hunters relying on a single prey type struggle profoundly. During the wet season, it hunts the abundant small game proliferating everywhere across the landscape. In the dry season, it pivots seamlessly to target the weary ungulates congregating tightly around the final vanishing water sources. It hauls its heavy meat kills high into the branches, far beyond the physical reach of grasping hyenas and the predatory interest of lions, dining at absolute leisure for days, completely undisturbed. With no need to travel massive distances, no necessity for a supporting pack, and zero reliance on any specific prey species, the severe drought barely touches the resilient leopard. Yet even the master of camouflage has one adversary it never dares to take lightly. For there exists a species that has faced the leopard across millions of years of evolutionary tension. It is the baboon, a sworn enemy of the leopard kind. An adult male weighs between 65 and 90 pounds and carries canines up to 2 inches long. Those fangs are longer and sharper than the teeth of many big cats. And in broad daylight, when the view runs wide open, the balance of power tilts entirely their way. Baboons live in large troops numbering from 50 to more than 100 strong. When a leopard is spotted in daylight, the whole troop turns in an instant from prey into hunter. Alarm calls spread like wildfire, and within seconds, the entire troop converges on one point. Under the light of day, the leopard camouflage loses most of its advantage. But the leopard is cunning. It learns the troop daily route, waiting for the moment they scatter to feed so it can isolate the weakest. No leopard dares to hunt baboons in broad daylight. The troop has no idea the danger is near. The leopard lies in the open, yet nothing detects it. A small victory, but one full of meaning. The strength of a baboon troop lies not only in fang and claw, but in sophisticated social intelligence. The dominant male rules not by muscle alone, but through shrewd alliances. Grooming one another is no mere matter of hygiene, but a political investment. Each session builds trust, cements allies, and shapes the hierarchy of the troop. A baboon with many allies can sometimes overpower rivals far larger and stronger than itself. Fresh grass blankets the flood plains mere weeks after the initial rains, offering a tender, protein-rich sustenance that precisely fulfills the nutritional demands of pregnant females. The beasts converge in massive throngs, enacting not a transcontinental migration, but a localized shift of herds around Kabuti and Linyanti as they follow the tracks of grass and water, guided by the memory of where the rain recently fell more accurately than any map. Then the calving season strikes. And the most remarkable phenomenon is not the sheer abundance of newborns, but the fact that they arrive almost simultaneously. The entire herd concentrates its birthing into an exceptionally brief temporal window, representing a cold, calculated evolutionary strategy designed to flood the market with prey so numerous that every predator, despite gorging to total capacity, cannot make a dent in the population. Predators possess strict stomach limits, whereas the herd maintains an unlimited synchrony. And this exact discrepancy ensures the survival of the vast majority of calves. A newborn calf drops onto the wet grass, still encased in its amniotic sac, instantly initiating a relentless biological survival clock. Mere minutes later, the infant is running alongside its mother at a developmental velocity virtually unmatched by any other ungulate in the region, possessing no prolonged childhood or safe toddling phase, but only its inaugural sprint and a solitary demand: keep pace with the herd. Throughout these critical weeks, the plains transform into an open ladder of survival, where every local carnivore recognizes the exact calendar season. Eventually, the afternoon rains grow sparse, turn briefer, and finally cease altogether around the month of April, a transition that goes largely unnoticed by most creatures for the first few weeks. Soon, the grass shifts from emerald green to pale yellow, eventually withering into the color of dry straw, becoming so brittle that it shatters beneath heavy hooves rather than yielding to a chew. Shallow pools evaporate first, their bottom mud fracturing into warped polygonal plates beneath the searing, baking sun. For the wildebeest, the biological calculus remains remarkably simple, as dry grass lacks the essential protein required to sustain a lactating female. The herd begins a slow, hesitant drift, moving a fraction further each day toward the floodplains that still retain the final traces of moisture. Then one morning, the horizon that has remained dense with dark silhouettes for months stands suddenly empty and swept clean. At the edge of the scrub, a lone lioness gazes in that direction for a prolonged duration, knowing that following the herd represents the sole logical maneuver executed by every wildebeest hunter on Earth. Behind her, however, her cubs remain under 3 months of age, possessing short, underdeveloped legs and an endurance woefully inadequate for such an arduous journey, meaning she can neither take them along nor abandon them to their fate, forcing her to remain behind. Giraffe kicks deliver a striking testament to the epic, unyielding battles for survival that define the untamed wilderness. While cultural depictions often project an image of serene and slender grace, the biological reality of an adult giraffe conceals a devastating kinetic weapon, where a single defensive strike generates a crushing force of approximately 140 kilograms per square centimeter. Consequently, confronting an adult giraffe represents a calculated, infrequent gamble for a lone lion, requiring instead the disciplined cooperation of a well-organized pride, numbering between 4 and 6 individuals to orchestrate a successful takedown. The collective strategy relies on specialized roles, where one predator initiates the pursuit to guide the towering herbivore toward structurally favorable terrain, while the remaining members lie in wait at strategic interception points along the anticipated escape route. Standing at an imposing height of 5 meters and tipping the scales at a massive 1,000 kilograms, this particular veteran giraffe has successfully weathered numerous lethal encounters with lions over the course of its long life. The confrontation erupts when 2 lionesses lunge suddenly from the concealing brush, though a younger, overzealous member of the pride misjudges the risks and decides she can expedite the hunt on her own terms. She attempts the classic feline leap, typically reserved for subduing large prey, directly challenging the monumental stature and defensive prowess of the giraffe. The ensuing chaos highlights the stark contrast between a disciplined predatory collective and an undisciplined, reckless participant, delivering a painful and unforgettable evolutionary lesson across the sun-baked landscape. This fierce struggle for survival continues relentlessly into the unforgiving dry season of the Okavango Delta. Upon this exact same patch of parched earth, another resilient stayer quietly holds its ground in a manner that almost entirely escapes notice. The warthog refuses to migrate, not due to an inability to journey across the plains, but because it harbors no biological necessity to do so. Throughout the daylight hours, it meticulously gnaws at subterranean grass roots and roots relentlessly for nutrient-dense tubers, repeatedly dropping directly onto its front calloused knees to bring its powerful snout flush with the dirt, adopting a humble foraging posture that no other large herbivore in this domain would deign to imitate. When the surface grasses perish and the withered foliage falls, vital sustenance remains securely locked beneath the soil, ensuring that those species willing to excavate will consistently discover nourishment. Any inquisitive predator rashly poking its head into a subterranean burrow is met by that formidable, weaponized snout first. Within such restricted, claustrophobic quarters, the warthog razor-sharp, curved tusks prove to be far from decorative accessories, serving instead as lethal instruments of defense. The experienced lioness knows with absolute precision where that subterranean sanctuary lies. Yet she also recognizes that crouching in patient anticipation all night at its entrance offers no viable means to nourish a starving pride of 6. A warthog remains frustratingly diminutive in mass, deceptively swift in acceleration, and perpetually hovering too close to its impenetrable bolt hole. This unfavorable calculation constitutes a losing equation that any rational predator simply chooses to ignore. However, across the untamed expanse of the wild world, other formidable adversaries still wait in the shadows. Under the blazing descent of the sunset, a dark, muscular mass moves majestically across the terrain. Boasting nearly 900 kilograms of raw weight and heavily armored skin, this creature possesses sweeping horns curved like the scythe of death. It is the Cape buffalo, the most fearsome giant of the savanna, whose latent agility and explosive speed regularly cause even the boldest enemies to back away. Its dark, intelligent eyes constantly scan the space, letting no minute movement of lurking assassins escape its notice. This extreme, unwavering vigilance serves as the foundational key to the species' survival through millions of years of rigorous evolution. They form impregnable blocks of collective strength, maintaining a disciplined and compact herd formation at all times. Although this unity remains their core tactical strength, the primal desire for dominance always burns internally, waiting patiently for an opportunity to erupt within the group. Under the crimson twilight sky, two giant gladiators march deliberately toward each other with burning eyes and razor-sharp horns held on guard. Their fiery gazes and combat-ready headwear announce an implacable clash for social status within the hierarchy. The violent impact of their locked horns echoes across the open plain like heavy sledgehammer blows. Every desperate charge carries the terrifying physical inertia of 900 kilograms, launching forward with unchecked momentum. The two gladiators stagger backward from the shock before lunging at each other once again, turning the brutal confrontation into an endless and unforgiving dance. Whoever hesitates for even a fraction of a second will instantly forfeit their standing and be forced to accept a bitter defeat. From the harsh savannas and fierce clashes of the buffalo, nature guides us to a completely different landscape to witness the grand waterway that sustains our planet. High atop the jagged Andes peaks, above 16,000 feet or 4,877 meters, a solitary meltwater droplet liberates itself from ancient snow. This droplet cannot know it is beginning a 4,000 miles or 6,437 kilometers odyssey through the largest forest on Earth before surrendering to the Atlantic Ocean. Cascading down barren rock, it merges with millions of others to forge a slender stream plunging along the mountain flank. The stream carves valleys and feeds a tributary, which merges into an entity far grander than all combined. Every second, this river unleashes 60 million gallons or 227.1 million liters of water into the ocean, eclipsing the next 7 largest rivers on Earth combined. It dilutes Atlantic salinity for over 100 miles or 160 kilometers offshore. Its basin consumes nearly 2.7 million square miles or 6.99 million square kilometers across 9 nations, sustaining 10% of all known species. This river carries life itself, and should it cease to flow, the consequences will reverberate globally. 25 million years ago, the Andes thrust skyward, blocking a westward current. Water pooled into a vast inland sea throughout the Miocene. 10 million years ago, pressure breached the porous arch, reversing the river eastward. Today, more than 1,100 tributaries feed it like capillaries, nourishing a colossal body. They transport 3 distinct aquatic realms: milky brown-white water laden with sediment, black water dark as steeped tea from dissolved tannins, and clear water tinged olive green. 3 waters, 3 worlds. Nearly 400 billion trees stand among them, their canopies reaching 100 to 150 feet or 30.5 to 45.7 meters overhead. Where the dense canopy yields to the riverbank, a gold and black dappled phantom presses flat against the mud. 4 paws touch down soundlessly, its heavy body compressed like a coiled spring. Jaguar, the supreme feline of the American rainforest. The Amazon harbors roughly 90% of the global jaguar population, an estimated 57,000 to 64,000 individuals. A 2025 study across 22 reserves in Brazil, Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador recorded a density of approximately 3 individuals per 40 square miles, or 103.6 square kilometers. For an apex predator, scarcity signifies dominance, and each cat demands a vast territory its jaw was engineered to obliterate. According to data published by Rowe and colleagues in 2005, its bite force quotient relative to body mass exceeds every other big cat on Earth. The shells of river turtles shatter beneath its teeth, and the skulls of caimans fare no better against a downward strike punching straight through bone. Today, the jaguar locks onto a half-submerged silhouette resembling a rotting log. Black caiman, measuring 13 to 16 feet or 4 to 4.9 meters and concealing over 1,000 pounds or 453.6 kilograms beneath keeled scales. The oldest individuals exceed 20 feet or 6.1 meters, and no Amazonian creature outweighs it. Anything touching the water risks becoming a meal, save one. The jaguar narrows the gap, its rosette coat dissolving into shadow. It launches straight into the river, later hauling the carcass ashore. This dynamic is not a simple equation of hunter and prey, but a collision of two empires intersecting at the riverbank. Remove the jaguar, and prey populations erupt unchecked. Riparian vegetation is stripped bare, and mid-sized predators proliferate, dismantling a delicate equilibrium. Ecologists call it a trophic cascade, pulling one top brick until the entire wall trembles. On paper, the jaguar is near threatened, yet many populations have already slipped to endangered. The jaguar is not the sole force governing this river. As downstream, another power gathers. They never travel, hunt, or fight alone. A barrage of shrill, urgent cries erupts from the water before the animals appear, coordinated like a chorus. Giant otters, their voices reach the ear before the eye, unmistakable for any other species. Science records 22 distinct vocalizations in adults and 11 in newborns, the most of any otter species. Each call commands, alarms, rallies, repels, or summons a mate. They thrive in family groups of 5 to 15, occasionally swelling to 20. A single monogamous pair reproduces, while the entire clan cooperatively raises the young. Beneath each chin lies a unique white fur pattern that never repeats, much like a human face. When declaring territory, the entire group rises high above the water, exposing their throats in a behavior termed periscoping, standing upright in the current. When hunting, they corral fish into the shallows from multiple directions, splitting the catch. Their efficiency has earned them the title of wolves of the river from field biologists. Return to the upstream reach, where the giant otter family finishes its hunt. Two soaked cubs lie on the bank, eyes barely open. Downstream, a jagged snout and two vertical pupils breach the surface. Black caiman. This is not the beast the jaguar dispatched, but a titan stretching beyond 15 feet or 4.57 meters and exceeding 800 pounds or 362.8 kilograms. The supreme ambush predator targets the defenseless cubs. The alpha otter spots it first, unleashing a warning shriek. In under 3 seconds, the family assembles in a crescent formation around the young. The standoff begins as 8, 10, or 12 individuals encircle an adversary 3 times their size. They bite from every angle, dragging the tail and diving to strike the belly. Each sortie lasts seconds before they retreat and surge again. This harassment continues for over 1 hour. The caiman lashes its tail and snaps jaws powerful enough to crush any lone otter. This is a risk calculation where both sides stand to lose. Ultimately, the black caiman retreats into deeper water, realizing the cost of fighting the entire clan is too steep. The cubs are safe, and a victory chorus rings along the river. Along a slower, wider stretch, another creature glides in silence. A faint ripple parts the murky surface, followed by a flash of pink that rises and vanishes. The Amazon River dolphin, the boto. In water too thick with sediment for eyesight, the boto relies on a high-frequency, short-range biosonar evolved specifically for the acoustic chaos of flooded forests. Unlike oceanic dolphins, its cervical vertebrae are unfused. It rotates its head 90 degrees, threading past submerged roots without collision. Oversized, independent pectoral fins allow it to pivot on the spot in confined spaces. Indigenous peoples speak of the Boto Encantado, the enchanted dolphin. On full moon nights, it transforms into a handsome man in white, concealing his blowhole beneath a hat, walking ashore to seduce women. This myth is how riverside communities pass down reverence for the water and its creatures. Tragically, the species is vanishing. In 2023, Lake Tefe became a cauldron where over 330 bodos died within weeks. Water temperatures reached 106 degrees Fahrenheit, or 41.1 degrees Celsius. Scientists from the Mamirawa Institute described the event grimly, stating the water cooked them alive. The river is no longer a refuge, but a trap. Above, in the densest canopy tier, 130 feet or 39.6 meters high, another hunt unfolds. A wingspan of 7 feet or 2.13 meters folds tight, threading through branches without brushing a leaf. Talons measuring 5 inches or 12.7 centimeters exceed the index finger of a human and match the claws of a grizzly bear. Harpy eagle, sovereign of the Amazon canopy. Its facial feather disc functions like the ear of an owl, channeling the rustle of a leaf into prey coordinates. It perches motionless for hours until its ears lock onto a signal. Then, 20 pounds or 9 kilograms of raptor explode through the canopy at 50 miles per hour or 80.5 kilometers per hour. Today, the target is a spider monkey swinging 100 feet or 30.5 meters above the ground. Its prehensile tail is a fifth hand, bearing a tactile pad that grips branches with human finger precision. Supporting the entire body weight, it enables swings across 30-foot or 9.1 meter gaps without pause. The harpy eagle strikes. The monkey releases its branch, free falls 6 feet or 1.8 meters, and catches a lower limb with its tail to escape. The eagle returns, empty-handed. Strike success is low because canopy prey evolved to flee. Spider monkeys are also the most prolific silent gardeners of the Amazon. Each day they consume fruit and travel 300 feet or 91.4 meters to over half a mile or 0.8 kilometers before depositing seeds. One individual scatters hundreds of thousands of seeds yearly. Should populations of spider monkeys decline, forest regeneration falls with them. Without dispersers, the canopy thins, rainfall drops, and the river shrinks. Through these vivid snapshots of the Amazon River and its colossal rainforest, an immutable truth of nature is revealed. Life does not exist in isolation, but is bound together by intricate ecological threads. From the silent, dedicated seed dispersing of spider monkeys to the fierce protection of giant otter families defending their young, every element beats to the same rhythm. And from the apex clashes between jaguars and black caimans to the heartbreaking cries of pink river dolphins facing thermal catastrophe, all share a connected destiny. Every creature, whether a dominant apex predator or a modest seed carrier, plays a critical role in preserving the balance of a global ecosystem. Protecting wild nature is not merely about safeguarding individual species. It is about preserving an unbroken ecological wall against a domino effect of collapse. When a single brick is pulled, the entire shared home of our planet trembles. Leaving behind the winding rivers and emerald canopies of South America, our exploration of the natural world now shifts its gaze toward the sun-scorched golden savannas and boundless, untamed valleys of wild Africa. A meal substantial enough to sustain the entire pride lies deeper within the labyrinthine scrub, where a magnificent spiral-horned antelope lives strictly by its own set of ecological rules. The greater kudu goes absolutely nowhere as the dry season intensifies. It feeds selectively on over 100 different plant species, drawing the vast majority of its required hydration directly from its botanical diet rather than risky open water sources. When it detects imminent danger at close range, it executes a tactic diametrically opposed to that of every other large prey across the region. It freezes completely motionless amidst the complex shadows of the thicket. Under this perfect camouflage, that massive, striking body simply vanishes into the background. A motionless kudu, standing barely 10 paces away from a hungry predator, can remain entirely unseen. For lions, the kudu represents the premier available creature large enough to satisfy a starving pride, yet it stubbornly dwells deep within dense brush, where every evolutionary feline advantage ceases to function. Out on the open plains, the pride coordinates with ruthless efficiency, fan out to block escape routes, and drive prey toward waiting ambushers. Within the claustrophobic confines of the thicket, however, none of these coordinated tactics apply, as no individual can perceive another beyond a handful of paces. The experienced lioness slips silently into the low brush, placing her padded paws with such anatomical precision that the dry, brittle leaves cannot even whisper a warning. Less than 10 paces away, a kudu bows its graceful head to sip the meager remaining moisture from a muddy puddle. Suddenly, the capricious wind shifts direction. The lioness halts abruptly amidst the still trembling foliage with empty jaws. Her dependent cubs must endure biting hunger for yet another day, and the unforgiving dry season is still only halfway through its grueling course. The water continues to recede day by day, and everything still living is being driven toward one exact location, the very last place in the region that holds water. And in that precise spot, two species have been waiting long before anyone else arrived. Two species are entirely absent from this calculus of departure, for the choice to leave has never existed for them. The hippopotamus cannot forsake the water. Its skin desiccates rapidly beneath the sun, forcing it to remain submerged throughout the day, exposing only nostrils and eyes. As the pools shrink, the entire pod is forced into an ever-diminishing refuge, and the distance between individuals grows perilously short. Hippos are fiercely protective of their personal space. When that territory vanishes, the immediate consequence is a surge in physical confrontation. Deep roars erupt through the night. Colossal jaws gape to display formidable teeth, and long, jagged gashes appear along the flanks of the largest males. Resting at the water edge, so motionless it might be mistaken for a drifting log, lies the second creature with no alternative. The Nile crocodile remains exactly where it is. While the dry season suffocates terrestrial life, this ancient reptile enters its most prosperous time of year. It need not go in search of prey. The drought itself will deliver the victims directly to its domain. Receding waters consolidate scattered drinking spots into a few vital remnants. compelling every land-dwelling creature to visit these precise locations daily. To drink, each animal must lower its head, exposing its neck, and sacrifice a few crucial seconds of forward vision. The crocodile requires only those exact few seconds. Daylight belongs to the lion, but as the sun slips below the horizon, the savanna changes hands. The spotted hyena is most active in the shadows, its rounded ears capturing every sound the nocturnal wilderness yields. This local clan is led by the largest female. It is a matriarchal society where females dominate males and rank is determined at birth. They are not mere scavengers. The vast majority of their food comes from hunts they orchestrate themselves, executed in the dark, unseen by the wider world. The clan spreads out in the gloom, communicating through a complex repertoire of vocalizations. A long whoop to rally, a short signal for prey, a low rumble to mark boundaries. Tonight, they have caught the scent of exactly what the clan needs. A lone wildebeest separated from the herd. Hyenas dismantle their quarry in minutes, consuming even the bones. Their jaws can crush what no other predator here can manage, ensuring absolutely nothing is wasted. With the ascent of a new queen to power, the hyena clan began shifting its overarching strategy. They chose to bypass direct confrontations with lions and instead focused aggressive attention on smaller predators, specifically targeting the African wild dog. Although physically smaller in stature than lions and spotted hyenas, these elite hunters must never be underestimated, boasting a remarkable hunting success rate that can reach an astonishing 90%. An indispensable component of this extraordinary success stems from their possession of one of the most effective social models found among all carnivores. It represents a flawless biological combination of strict discipline, unwavering loyalty, and deep family unity. A typical African wild dog pack consists of between 7 and 15 adult individuals, depending heavily on the local quality of the habitat. Under exceptionally favorable conditions characterized by abundant food supplies, numbers can readily exceed 30 individuals. Unlike the constant, brutal power struggles observed in many other carnivorous species, these packs maintain a strict hierarchy overseen by a single breeding pair. The dominant male and female do not rule through authoritarian dictatorship like lions or hyenas, but rather led based on earned experience and mutual respect. They require no territorial roars or physical combat to validate their leadership positions. All internal group dynamics, ranging from respectful obedience to fair food distribution, are governed by quiet social rituals that reflect a miniature ecosystem of cooperation and genuine altruism. Non-breeding members are never rejected or dismissed as inferior. On the contrary, they fulfill vital, life-sustaining functions as dedicated caretakers, vigilant guardians, and structural pillars of group welfare. When the dominant female gives birth, typically yielding between 6 and 16 pups, following a gestation period lasting approximately 70 to 73 days. These communal caretakers take turns guarding the den. They shield the vulnerable newborns and share both stored food and essential body heat. Group stability, however, is never entirely permanent, as maturing young individuals eventually emigrate to locate new packs, with young females predominantly leaving their natal group to prevent inbreeding. This perilous journey involves countless environmental risks, yet it remains absolutely essential to preserve the long-term genetic diversity of the species. Packs inhabiting pristine areas characterized by abundant food resources and minimal human disturbance can control sprawling territories spanning several hundred square kilometers. These vast lands are carefully demarcated through scent marks, physical trails, and complex social behaviors. Within an unforgiving wild environment where a single tactical miscalculation can cost a life, the manner in which African wild dogs organize their pursuits stands as a true evolutionary masterpiece of strategy. Before setting out following a period of communal rest, group members assemble for a unique ritual where actions such as licking muzzles, wagging tails, or emitting specific sneezes function as direct social signals to vote on whether the time has arrived to initiate a hunt. The pack typically sets off at dawn or dusk when environmental temperatures drop and visibility makes it easier to track elusive prey such as impalas, wildebeests, or warthogs. Once the targeted prey is successfully located, the chase unfolds with immaculate coordination rather than chaotic rushing, executed through synchronized small groups cooperating with breathtaking precision. These resilient canids can achieve blistering sprint speeds between 56 and 72 kilometers per hour. Yet, their most awe-inspiring biological asset remains their unmatched stamina and relay capability throughout a protracted hunt. The initial vanguard runs at peak velocity until exhaustion sets in, whereupon a fresh relay group seamlessly continues the pursuit, with each individual stretch lasting only a few hundred meters. Once the quarry is thoroughly exhausted, the entire pack converges to execute the final capture, after which food is distributed almost instantaneously. Pups, the sick, and the elderly members consistently receive absolute priority, with dedicated caretakers frequently regurgitating pre-chewed meat to nourish the growing pups or the resting nursing mother. Wild nature is a magnificent yet intensely brutal canvas where life and death are decided in a split second. From the heart-stopping hunts of lion prides and the resilient survival strategies of leopards, to the arduous migrations of elephants and wildebeests, every creature fights with unwavering tenacity to exist. Yet, the most devastating force confronting the natural world does not stem from ancient predator-prey dynamics, but rather from human hands. Reckless destruction of pristine forests, escalating climate change, and widespread environmental pollution are pushing countless species to the brink of extinction. These human activities are severely disrupting the delicate balance of the ecosystems on Earth. Looking toward the future, if we continue to turn a blind eye to the deepening wounds of our planet, a day will come when the rich tapestry of the wild exists only as a distant memory. Nature is not merely an infinite resource to be ruthlessly exploited. It is the fundamental cradle sustaining human life itself. Protecting nature is, in essence, safeguarding the future of humanity. Starting today, each of us must take meaningful action by reducing single-use plastics, planting trees, advocating for wildlife conservation, and respecting ecological boundaries. Together, we must preserve the green pulse of our planet so that life may continue to flourish for generations to come. If you are captivated by the wondrous stories of the wild and want to help spread this crucial message of environmental protection, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel.